in 15 years, how long is it going to be? That Trey
Come on.
Songz doc is going to be
We're gonna let this load. But this is surviving Trey Songz. They all had the same story. Alright, so one thing that I can say about this Trey Songz thing, the reason I wanted to watch this is because I mean there's been constant inklings and stories about Trey Songz, how he be beating bitches, he be not well aggravatingly assaulting hoes. I don't want to call them aggravating assaulting females. Unconsented stuff like that, and you've been hearing that, but nothing's really. I mean, I think he's had a couple of lawsuits and shit like that, but I don't really pay attention to him, so I don't know what happened. I don't know if he got paid out. I don't know if he was charged with him or anything. So, and my thing is, bro, why is it the R&B niggas that can sing and can serenade and get any hood they want? Why did they are they the ones that have the most type of female problem when it comes to sexually assaulting and beating women and all that stuff? Like, you don't need to do that, nigga. Just sing and serenade to them and be a gentleman, like you say you're going to in your song. Like the rap niggas, we already know what comes to that because they talking about how they drugging women, how they fucking them and their sister, how they just be a trick for them and shit like that. Like, come on now, we expect it from them. And so when it happens, like, are you surprised this nigga raps about it? I'm not saying all of them do it, but we're not as surprised when it happens. But with the singing R&B niggas, like, come on now, like, get yourself together.
crazier than the R.Kelly. Trey Songz is the most nasty, abusive, beats the out of women. Like, he is the scum of the earth. Trey Songz is disgusting. His doc is going to surpass. If you ever thought you could surpass an R.Kelly doc, I promise you, in 15 years, Trey Songz, his doc.
We don't need 15. Tremaine Alden Neverson, or simply known as Trey Songz, is, in my personal opinion, a disgusting freak, a sexual deviant, a repulsive, stomach-turning, god-awful, odious man that I think, if these allegations are any percent true, should be in prison for a very long time.
Shit, Keke Palmer said some shit about that too.
Than this video. Simply because of the sheer amount of horrible stuff this man is accused of doing. I have more allegations.
Man, shout out to my dreadheads, man. Shout out to my dreadheads.
Covered for anyone on this channel times 2. He's been accused of doing horrible things, taking advantage of numerous women, straight up not caring about consent, beating ladies and men up, potentially kidnapping people.
Oh, we heard about Jacquees.
That violates autonomy several times. Jesus Christ.
Hey, and we heard about Jacquees. He ripped out one of his
industry have aired this man out before, and he's still allegedly doing this. This is gonna be a lot. Disclaimer: these are all allegations brought to me by the public. I'm just here to put everything in one place. None of this is proven within the court of law unless specifically stated otherwise. So make up your own minds about it. This is Absolute 2012 Donna McIntosh and Noe. While it's not the worst thing he's ever done, this first story highlights impulsivity, and because of this, I think it's important to cover. August 22nd, around 4 a.m. in New York City, a club in Queens is buzzing with music blasting, cash flying, VIP sipping overpriced champagne, and right in the middle of it all is Trey Songz. And he's about to get into one of the most bizarre altercations of his entire career, one that involves a phone, a photo, and a very expensive right hook. Meet Donna McIntosh and Noe. She's a nurse from Staten Island. That night, she and her husband decided to hit up Club Perfection, not for dancers, but to see Trey Songz. At the time, he was hosting a party for his new album. They even paid $700 just to sit in the VIP section with him. And at some point during that night, Donna does what pretty much everyone else does when they see a celebrity in public. She pulls out her phone and snaps a photo. Big mistake. Trey notices, and he's clearly not happy, which is a huge surprise for Donna because she's not the only one taking photos right now. But nevertheless, he sets his sights on her regardless. immediately snatching away her phone trying to delete the picture. But, and this is the funny part, he apparently doesn't even know how to use her phone. So, frustrated and unable to delete the picture, he does what anybody else would do in this situation.
Did you throw it?
He throws a fat stack of money at her face. And I don't mean some light disrespectful toss, no. According to Donna, he chucked it like he was Clayton Kershaw, effectively turning U.S. currency into a dangerous weapon. And Donna...
Nigga, if I was that husband, and a celebrity threw a stack of money in my bitch's face, not only am I taking the money, I'm putting the paws on it. And then the police know about it. You getting sued. Not only did you lose the money you threw in my bitch's face, you catch a fade, but also you're gonna lose a whole lot more money. Come on, Trey. And that's my thing too, like with celebrities, like I understand that, hey, sometimes like when you're out and about, you don't want people coming up to you and your fans and supporters, and when you're with your family taking pictures and shit like that, you don't want to be bothered all the time. I understand, I get it, but bruh, that comes with the job. That comes with the lifestyle of you being rich and famous, you being a fucking singer, you being an actor, you being just a musician in a band or a model or whatever, or an influencer or whatever. You know that fans are going to be starstruck and want to get pictures and take pictures, especially if you're in a fucking club, especially if you're promoting an album, especially if you have a VIP. Like, bruh, it's inevitable. So why be mad at it? Why bring negative attention to you? Why try that negativity? You see niggas taking pictures of you, bless them. Hey, what the fuck y'all doing taking pictures of me? We need to be in the picture together. Come on, man. It's a night of everybody's life. I know y'all paid all of this shit, so we all gonna get a picture. Fuck is y'all talking about? Come on, let's go. Welcoming that shit. How you gonna be in a social setting and get mad at people? Get mad at people doing what people do in social settings, knowing that you're a celebrity. These are your supporters. They paid fucking $700 to get into the fucking VIP section with you. 700 of their hard-earned money. 700. They're probably working fucking 12 to 14. He said she was a nurse. 12 to 14-hour shifts every day just to come see you. I mean, she gotta do that for her bills, but still, like, come on now.
She is shocked. She says she didn't even realize she was bruised until after she had left the club. But when she looked in the mirror, yeah, her eye was swollen up like she was in the ring with Floyd Mayweather.
I hope they took the money.
To right after he threw that cash.
I hope she took the money.
Songz didn't apologize. He doesn't try to make things right. He just goes about his night like nothing had ever happened. But Donna, she is pissed. She goes straight to the police and files a report.
Hell yeah.
And guess what? Just a few weeks later, Trey's arrested on misdemeanor assault and harassment charges. Seems like an open and shut case, right? A woman got hit in her face, a celebrity lost his temper, and now the law is involved.
Yeah, good.
Well, not exactly. Police determined they can't actually prove anything illegal took place. Apparently, even if Trey did throw that money, prosecutors claimed there was no clear case of misconduct. According to the Queen's DA's office, there was no high level of recklessness. Now, I don't know about you, but I have so many questions like, what's the official legal limit on throwing money at someone before it becomes a crime? Because I'm pretty sure...
And did they take the money?
If I go outside right now...
You take the money!
Throw a wad of cash at somebody and they get injured, I'm either catching the case or I'm catching some hands.
Yeah.
But apparently, if you're a famous musician and you hit someone with money, as long as you don't do it with a high level of recklessness, you might just walk away scot-free.
Bitch, take the money!
And that's exactly what happens.
That's what
Trey
I'm saying.
Songz
Take the
gets
money!
off the hook, and the story fades into obscurity.
I never knew about this. It's crazy.
2013, Megan Johnson. That is until 2013, where a woman named Megan Johnson would attend an event called Foxwoods Liquid Sundays with Trey Songz. This event took place in Connecticut. Fans flocked to the venue, eager to catch a glimpse of the star, sip expensive drinks, and bask in the summer heat. Among the crowd was Megan Johnson, but she wasn't just another fan. She was there with work associates, networking, enjoying the event from the VIP section. It was supposed to be a day of fun, a carefree afternoon. She had no idea that she was mere minutes away from an encounter that would leave her permanently scarred.
Hold on, look at this shit. And this is gonna go back to my theory. Remember how I said niggas with receding hairlines or big foreheads, they got better beards? Hairline looks normal. Hasn't been pushed back or anything. Look at his beard. It's alright, but it's more like a neck beard. He's got a little bit right here. And he's got it lined up, so that's good. But guess what? It trails down. A real nigga like me, my fat ass forehead, my shit lined up. You see where the beard is. You see where the beard is on both sides. It's damn near to my fucking cheek. Like, bruh, I swear to God, I bet you, by the time I'm like maybe in my 40s, like my beard could be like right here. Because I have a whole lot of different hairs that like that grow out, like when I don't have it like shaped up and shit like that. Like you'll see it. Like it's crazy. So he adds to it. He adds to my theory. I think my theory may be valid.
What happened next? Because the evidence speaks for itself. Out of nowhere, Trey Songz appeared behind Megan, and in a matter of seconds, he ripped down her bikini top, exposing her in front of the entire party. For a moment, Megan froze. A mix of shock, confusion, and terror overwhelmed her. She kept her composure, even nervously smiling throughout the ordeal. But the nightmare wasn't over, because as she scrambled to cover herself, Trey began to chant. 4 times, as if it were the hook to one of his songs. Laughter, cheers, music blaring. To the crowd, it was just another moment in the party. But to Megan, it was something entirely different. That night, Megan barely spoke. Back at her hotel, she took a long shower, scrubbing her skin raw, trying to wash away the shame, the humiliation, the feeling of being violated in front of strangers and her coworkers.
Yeah, that's wild.
She didn't report the incident. Not then. Not the next day, not even the next year, because like so many other victims of public humiliation, she blamed herself. Maybe she should have been more careful. Maybe she should have reacted differently.
It's not her fault.
Maybe, just maybe, this wasn't as serious as she had felt.
No, it's serious.
But time has a way of forcing the truth to the surface, and in December of 2021...
Guess what? I'm sure that she's had probably like nightmares and shit like that. You can get PTSD from being embarrassed publicly. Like, that public humiliation, especially in front of your coworkers and shit like that, being violated like that, that can cause some damage to your fucking mental. I'm sure she woke up from nightmares with that shit. Damn.
9 years later, that moment came. Headlines exploded with news that Trey Songz had been arrested in Las Vegas for another alleged incident. And as Megan read through the accusations, something inside of her clicked. A moment she had buried deep, frozen in time, suddenly thawed, and for the first time she realized what had truly happened to her. She hadn't just been humiliated, she had been violated in a dehumanizing way.
Yes.
Megan came forward with her story, revealing disturbing details that remained locked in her head for nearly a decade. She remembered the fear, the anxiety, the moment her body felt like it didn't belong to her anymore. With her initial demand asking for a $5 million settlement, Trey was under heat but didn't make an effort to respond, causing Megan's team to change her demand to a civil suit after Trey ignored her initial filing. She amended the complaint a month later and again in September before Trey's team moved to dismiss, citing the statute of limitations. The judge allowed another amendment, but Trey's dismissal motion, emphasizing similarities to previous filings, prevailed. Megan did not respond to his last motion, leading to a ruling in Trey's favor. As a result, he is currently free of punishment for this allegation.
Wow.
However, this incident was recorded on camera, leaving no doubt to Trey's actions. I know this video is tough to listen to, and honestly there's still a lot more to cover, so please consider engaging with this content if you appreciate the effort. Thank you. Now back to the video. 2015, 2 Jane Does. On August 2nd, 2015, two women stepped into a private party at Trey
And
Songz
also,
Bell's.
my thing is, they had video of that shit happening, so that should be a clear cut case. But maybe the fact that she took a decade to, talk about it and stuff like that, that may be it. Because the statute of limitations is, I mean, I think it's different. It's different times for different, like things, like aggravated assault, sexual assault, and shit like that. I think it's different. It's like 7. I don't want to. I don't want to be guessing. Hold on. We about to go ahead and. I got a computer here. Let's see. Let's see. Three to 6 years. So regular is 3 to 6 years, but in severe cases have longer time frames. So it could be to 10 years or more. Okay. Now let's do sexual assault. And also I think it has to do with within states as well. Look, each state has its own unique time limit for filing these type of cases. Now it has to do with if the victim is a minor, it can get extended. Okay, so it has each state. I think they said she was in Las Vegas, so it happened in Las Vegas, Nevada. Oh, see, it's 2 years. Sexual. All right, yeah, sexual. So it's 2 years. Let's look for Ohio. 2 years from the date from the incident. Okay. Yeah. So like I said, these statute of limitations, man, like that could also go into it, but also how severe that shit was. Like, and also since it's on camera, like since she took a decade, it's like, all right, now like that shit happened a while ago, but it's not likely that anything's gonna come from it. Like, if she would have literally, this is on video, if she would have like went to the police and like put forward a statement and sued him right then and there, she would have more likely got the $5 million, definitely. But since she waited a decade, like, since she waited a decade when all that shit came out, then that's why like she didn't get what she was asking for and shit like that.
Canyon, California home. What they expected was a star-studded celebration. What
Somebody
they
should get
happened
something
instead
good
was
as
something
fuck.
they would never forget.
I wonder what they cooked. I
Known
might go
publicly
downstairs and
only
ask
as
for a
Jane
fucking
Doe
plate,
A
bro.
and Jane Doe B, the two women alleged they were invited after Trey noticed a Snapchat post geotagged to Los Angeles. As soon as they arrived, things felt off. Security was tight, they had to give their phones password and hand over the phones, and walk into a house where nearly...
Hold on, you gotta get. In order to get into the party with Trey Songz or a celebrity, you gotta go ahead and give your phone and your phone's password to him. Nigga, fuck that. I don't need to be in a room with a celebrity that bad. Guess what? Hoes would do what hoes would do just so I can go and get some clout and go and be with a celebrity or whatever. I'm not talking down, I'm just saying, like, that's
full
crazy.
bottles of liquor already opened, and despite drinking only a moderate amount, the women say they quickly begin to feel off. Then came a twerking contest. According to the complaint, Trey offered $3,000 to anyone willing to dance. The woman declined, and that's when the atmosphere allegedly turned threatening.
Yeah, that's
Trey
crazy.
Songz began yelling, hurling bottles, and pressuring them to dance because he ordered them to.
What the fuck?
Security eventually escorted the two
Monaco,
women upstairs to cool
Monaco.
off. That's where things get worse. Both women say they woke up the next morning bucket naked. Jane
Oh,
Doe A
shit.
says the next thing she remembers is waking up undressed with Trey Songz performing things to her lower regions with his mouth. She says that she had tried to push him away, but he simply just did not stop. Jane Doe B says she woke up to Songz biting her chest and using his fingers on her without her consent. Neither woman had any memory of consenting to relations with him, nor how they even got into the bedroom. Their physical state and fragmented memories led them to believe they had been drugged the night before. Afterwards, they say Trey demanded they shower with him. When they refused, he allegedly screamed, "You are little effing girls. Get the F out of my house." The woman left in shock. No police report, no hospital. But according to their attorney, they told their friends,
Bruh, that's when you, bruh, really, as soon as that shit happened, bruh, go straight to the police. Go straight to the fucking police. Don't wait. If you feel violated and shit like that, like, bro, if I have a daughter, I'm telling them straight up. If some shit like that happens to you, go straight to the police. Let me know, and we gonna go to the police. And I'll beat his ass. But justice is gonna take care of it. Like, cause that shit is nothing to be playing with. That shit is very serious. Like, come on now. And then it's like they woke up to you violating them, and then a couple minutes later you yell and saying you're little fucking girls, get the fuck out. Like, and also if they was passed out and shit like that, right? You know, let's say the drinks they had was drugged and shit like that. What the fuck was Trey on? What was Trey on to where he was just up just doing that shit? Like, and ain't no telling what he did while they was unconscious and passed out. Bruh. Like, because you tell them that you were sexually assaulted and shit like that, bruh. They're gonna do a rape kit. They're gonna take your blood to see if there's any type of drugs in your system, shit like that. Like, the more shit, that's how you go ahead and get them, bruh. You can't wait several years to go ahead and come forward. You gotta do that ASAP. Especially because if you bury that shit, there's little pieces of information that you'll be able to get rather than if you go to the police right after that shit happens. You go to the police right after that shit happens, you have majority of the story. You have almost all of the story.
and family what had happened immediately upon returning home. Their stories matched, and 8 years later, empowered by a temporary change in California law lifting the statute of limitations, they filed a civil lawsuit. Whether or not the courts agree remained to be seen, but if these allegations are true, that night in 2015 wasn't just a party. It was a nightmare wrapped in fame and silence. But in February 2024, those two women filed a request with the Los Angeles Superior Court to dismiss their lawsuit without prejudice. This means they retain the option to refile the case in the future. The court documents did not specify whether a settlement had been reached or the reasons behind their decision to drop the lawsuit. But one might think Trey and his team must have came to some agreement behind the scenes to keep this under wraps. Although that is just a theory. After all, these are all just allegations. 2016, Jane Doe. March 24, 2016, a woman going by Jane Doe would get invited to a West Hills house party in Los Angeles by Trey Songz. Jane Doe and Trey had history. They had a consensual relationship. She trusted him, and so, when he invited her over, she didn't hesitate. At some point during that night, Trey asked her to come upstairs. She assumed it was for privacy. In fact, she was looking forward to normal relations with him. But the second they started to go upstairs, something fell off. Trey kept asking her something over and over again. "Can I get that?" She said, "No." Then he asked again. She said, "No," again. But he just wouldn't stop, until finally, she added that her answer would not change, and then told him to stop asking. To be clear, what he meant by that was backdoor stuff. If you remember, she was open to a regular interaction at this point. So she is just expressing her boundaries around her preferred interaction. Once inside the room, things escalated fast. Before Jane could even react, Trey threw her to the ground, ripped off her pants, pinned her down, and started doing the unthinkable. Backdooring Miss Jane Doe without her consent. She screamed and he continued. She fought and he continued. She begged him to stop, but he didn't. He continued on, ignoring her pain. And then someone walked in the room. For a brief second, she thought this was it. This was her chance to escape. But they quickly left after not really realizing what was going on. And that's when she lost all hope for a savior. And finally, he stopped after satisfying himself. Once the opportunity showed, she grabbed her pants and sprinted out of the house, leaving her underwear behind in the room. Humiliated and broken, she called for an Uber. But when the driver got there, they immediately noticed something was wrong, and sensing Jane's distress, they drove her straight to the emergency room. At Providence Joseph Medical Center in Burbank, California, Jane received treatment and got a kit done. This is when staff would discover tearing in her nether regions. She was counseled, she was safe. But then the hospital did something she hadn't anticipated. They called the police. This would be the best thing to do, especially with the literal evidence Trey had left on her.
Exactly.
But, you see, Jane was really terrified at this point. Terrified of him. And she just wasn't ready to talk. Police would try reaching out again the next day. But her fear was still louder than her voice.
Bruh.
It would...
See, that's why you need to have a strong man in your life, as in like your dad, your uncle, brothers, and shit like that. Because you must have... Hold on. Excuse me. They would have hit her with the... Hold on. You're more scared of Trey Songz than the fucking police? You're scared of him when the justice will be able to help you out and you'll be able to do your shit? Think logically. Man, if I was there, that... God forbid that happens to my sister. God forbid it happens to my mom. God forbid it happens to any female that is in my circle that I love. I'm not speaking this into existence. But had I been there and she wants some no, I'm like some yes. Talking to the police. I don't care what you gotta say. And I went like some look, doc, she's not in the right state of mind. This shit just happened. Emotions are going up, like she's terrified. I'ma speak for her, and yes, we're going to the police. And if she still says no, I'm gonna bring the police to her spot. Let's go. We talking. I don't give a fuck what you gotta say. Because if you don't talk to the police, he's gonna do this on another female. And this shit will get worse, worse, and worse, and worse. It's not helping him. Obviously, he has a problem, so we gotta fix that problem where it is. So we gotta stop him from doing that shit.
Takes 6 entire years for Jane to step forward with the help of her attorneys, George Rebeck and Ariel E. Mitchell. During this process, Jane Doe was invited to another party, this one unrelated to Trey Songz, but they were both guests. And when he saw her at this party, he wasted no time in calling her profanities and a liar. Then he used his position of power to get security to kick her from the event. Jane decided she needed to start anew. She changed her hair color and moved to another state, but Trey apparently got another musician to threaten her, saying, "Keep his name out of your effing mouth," or "I'll kill you." This is when she changed the color of her hair again and played a different move.
Will Smith.
Meanwhile, Trey's defense was working hard, using the statute of limitations to try and weasel him out. For a moment, it looked like nothing could be done for her. But in 2023, Jane and her team successfully refiled. And in 2024, she won via settlement for $25 million.
But wait, there's more.
Now, some people may think technically I could say this really happened, but the conditions of this settlement are really murky. And this wasn't a criminal case. It was a civil one. So legally, I can only say that these allegations held up in civil court and a settlement was presented to Jane Doe. On to the next incident.
Palmer.
2017, Keke Palmer.
Did not mean to kick you, good sir.
It's early 2017. Keke Palmer, actress, singer, all-around powerhouse, is in Miami. She's invited to a house party hosted by R&B star Trey Songz.
And I've known Trey since I was 12 and kept in touch with him consistently, but I've known him, he's seen me throughout my life. We were signed to the same label under the same production manager when I was a kid. So it's always been love whenever I seen him. I knew he was in Miami. He's doing a party. Cool. I'm gonna come through. Me and my friends came through. It was a good time.
Music is bumping, people are dancing, everything seems normal. Until cameras start to come out. Trey's team starts filming. They're shooting a music video for his remix on a song called Pick Up the Phone. Out of nowhere, Kiki notices they're aiming the lens right at her. She's confused, then uncomfortable, then flat out tells them, no, I don't want to be filmed.
They start playing a song that I happen to be in. They start saying like they want me to be in it. One person asks me, I say no. Another person asks me, I'm like, no. People keep asking me. Now, mind you, they've been giving food, they've been giving drinks, and I'm just starting to feel like, yo, I'm being like cornered, like, and I'm not in a professional situation. Like, I came here for a party, but I'm being pressured to do business, and I'm not in the right mind. I'm under the influence, and I don't feel like it's fair that I'm having to deal with this right now.
She says it multiple times, no consent, no contract, no clearance, and then it gets weird. Kiki later claimed that she felt so cornered, so uncomfortable, that she literally hid in the closet to avoid being on camera.
Literally, I got so overwhelmed with what to do, didn't know what to do. My Uber wasn't gonna get there in quick enough time. So I was like, what do I do in this meantime? I know the shit sounds comical as fuck, but y'all, I hid in the goddamn closet. Like, I didn't know what to do.
She says Trey and his team kept trying to film her despite her saying no, and that she felt pressured, unsafe, and disrespected. Fast forward a few days, the video drops. Guess who's in it? Keke Palmer. Clips of her looking uncomfortable ended up in the final cut, and she was furious.
You guys, I'm honestly so sad and so livid that Trey Songz put me in his artist's video because I told him I didn't want to be in that goddamn video. I really, really don't like conflict, and I didn't want to. He's like, yo, Keke, if you don't want to be in a pop-up video shoot, if you want to say that, that's fine, that's fine. And it's all good, like it's good, sis. Flash forward, I'm in the fucking video. How am I in the video? Then I'm thinking back, oh, I'm in the video because you, when I was getting pressured, they had set me down. He had set me down on the couch like, this is the idea I have, da-da-da. But I had no idea that they was filming.
She took to Instagram, called out Trey directly, and said she was filmed without permission, using sexual intimidation. Her exact words being, no means no.
No means no?
I said no. Why does my no not matter to you? This wasn't just a bad experience at a party. This was about boundaries, about power, about the way women, even famous ones, can be ignored when they speak up.
And one thing I don't like too is it was 2 or 3 weeks ago on Twitter. They had a video. It was an old video of R.Kelly and Keke Palmer, and they was in the studio way before the R.Kelly shit came out. Way before it was a while ago. It was years before the R.Kelly shit. But it resurfaced, and they was like, oh yeah, well, she was with R. Kelly in the studio, da da da, and now she's doing this shit for Trey Songz, da da da, and it's like, bruh, if she would have known about the shit that was going on with R. Kelly, if she really would have known, she wouldn't have been in that video. She wouldn't have been with, like, bruh, y'all just trying to do this to tarnish what she gotta say and tarnish her image, bruh. I saw straight through that bullshit. I was like, bruh. They was having a good time. It's R. Kelly, and it's R. Kelly. Mother's been a celebrity, been with all. He's a celebrity, the fucking king of R&B. The motherfucker who's just making hit after hit after hit. I get to be in a studio with him, and I get to watch him lay down a track. Like, come on now, with the possibility of me being on a track of business and just having fun, of course. But if she would have known that at that time, she wouldn't have been in that studio with R. Kelly. Come on now. Like, stop.
Is it right? The thing is we're then telling girls that it's okay for them to be in weird and awkward and, potentially sexually harassing environments.
Right.
And they should endure it and not say nothing about it. That's why I said something about it, because it's like, look, it happens to me too.
Trey responded, denied everything, claimed Keke knew what was going on, said he wasn't that invested in putting her in the video. But that didn't fly with a lot of people, because Keke had receipts. She went on to the Breakfast Club and laid it all out, how it wasn't just uncomfortable, it was straight up violating, and being famous doesn't protect you when people think they can steamroll over your...
And this is one thing I can say, and shout out to Ye. Even though y'all don't fuck with him, I still fuck with his music, and I fuck with the shit he's been saying. Bruh, it came out, maybe it was last year. It was last year when it came out, but I don't know when that shit happened. But a lady, it was like one of his background dancers or something like that, went to a party. It was when there was like doing shit for vultures one, or I don't want to say it. Essentially, a female went to his party and was at a house at a mansion. I guess he was recording or doing something, but he was in the other room. And then there's a party in the opposite room from where Ye is, and that lady was sitting there, and they were having a twerking contest, and everybody was trying to get her to dance, and so was like I guess the people he was working with and his security and shit like that. They kept trying to get her to twerk. They kept trying to get her to twerk. She kept saying no, 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 no. I'm not trying to do it. She felt very uncomfortable. Ye overheard that shit, came out and just yelled, "Hey, she said no. Stop asking. Stop fucking asking. She said no. Leave her alone." And then sat right next to her and said, "Hey, you ain't trying to do nothing. You ain't got to do it. Nobody's gonna make you feel uncomfortable here because that shit is not how I roll." Hey, shout out to my nigga Ye, man.
So if I say something, I'm saying
Shout out to my
something
nigga
for
Ye,
a
man.
reason. And I feel like so many times black women say stuff and nobody gives a shit. Excuse my language. Nobody gives a fuck when sometimes black women say something. But somebody.
I love how she said, "It seems like every time black women say something, nobody gives a shit." Excuse my language. Nobody gives a fuck. Some real shit right there, Kiki.
Of another complexion, somebody of another color, they say something. And then it's like, we're taking it to court.
Yeah.
It's time to get serious. Hashtag me too.
Which brings us to the end of the
Yeah,
year.
she has a point.
2017 Jahara Jeffries. December 31st, 2017, New Year's Eve, Jahara Jeffries was enjoying her night at Diddy's private bash in Star Island Mansion. And to be clear, this is pretty controversial in its own right, but in an ironic twist, Diddy would have nothing to do with this. After spending a couple hours at Diddy's party, Jahara and her friends decided to head to 11, a popular Miami nightclub. As they were arranging their Uber to the club, Trey Songz overheard their conversation and invited them to ride in his vehicle instead. Jahara, starstruck but unsuspecting, agreed, but immediately noticed that Trey Songz was absolutely wasted, as he had been served alcohol all night at Diddy's party. Once inside the club, Trey led them to a VIP section where the music pulsed and the lights strobed. Jahara began dancing on a couch, like literally on top of a couch. Nothing out of the ordinary. But according to her, that's when everything shifted. She alleges Trey suddenly reached under her dress and attempted to do things with his fingers without warning, without her consent. When she turned around, he pulled his hand back like nothing had ever happened. Stunned, Jahara sat down trying to make sense of what just occurred. Then another woman in their group leaned in and whispered something chilling. "Girl, he did the same thing to me." Further going on to say, he slid a hand down her pants and groped her butt without consent. That's when Jahara felt a rush of unease all over that lingered for the rest of the night. She kept telling herself that she was overreacting. It was just a simple mistake. He was just trying to gauge how much she liked them, and now that he knew she wasn't down for it, nothing more would happen. After the party, they all got into Trey Songz's vehicle to head back, and that's when Trey removed his shirt and began acting erratically. Fearing another incident, Jahara pulled out her phone and began recording him. And when he noticed, he immediately lunged at her and tried to grab it. He didn't get very far, and that's when he ordered the driver to stop. Moments later, she was forcibly kicked out of the car and left on the side of the road. Jahara filed a civil lawsuit in Florida, accusing Trey Songz of serious things. His team denied the allegation, calling them meritless. But to Jahara, this wasn't just a bad night. It was trauma that she says will haunt her forever. And if her account is true, then beneath the lights and luxury of that New Year's celebration was something far darker. And before we go on, I have to state yet again for legal reasons, these are all just allegations in one place, not proof of guilt or claims of absolute truth. Please exercise caution and do your own research before attempting to start a witch hunt. And don't forget to subscribe. 2018, Andrea BOII. On the weekend of February 17, 2018, Los Angeles was packed.
Chill, no,
NBA
no,
All-Star
who
Weekend
is
had
this
transformed the
nigga?
city into a playground for celebrities. athletes, A-listers from every corner of the entertainment world, and among them was Andrea BOII, a student and aspiring entrepreneur. Andrea had been invited to a private gathering at a rented home in the Hollywood Hills, a party Trey Songz was also attending. According to the rumors, she and him had a romantic but not exclusive relationship. And according to Andrea, things were going fine, until she spoke to another man at the party. It was casual, friendly, but Trey, who she said had been watching, didn't like what he saw. She claimed he approached her in a rage, and before she could process what was happening, he allegedly grabbed her by the neck and began beating her. Then, she says, he punched her hard, multiple times in front of other people. Andrea was left bruised, battered, and in pain. The next day, she went to the hospital where doctors diagnosed her with a concussion. She said she suffered migraines, vomiting, and trauma from the incident, and she wasn't going to stay silent. Weeks later, Andrea held a press conference with high-profile attorney Lisa Bloom. With cameras rolling, she described the assault publicly and asked one thing from Trey Songz, an apology.
My name is Andrea BOII, and on the morning of February 17th, 2018, I was assaulted by Tremaine, also known as Trey Songz. I was attending an after party when Trey began yelling at me, kicking me, punching me, and ultimately
It's a
knocked me to
bystander
the
effect.
ground.
Everybody see it, but everybody frees up. Nobody
While I
does
was on
anything.
the ground, he continued punching me, and he did not stop until his security guard pulled him off of me.
She also called on witnesses to come forward, saying she knew there were other people at that party who saw it all. But Trey didn't respond with an apology. Instead, he denied everything. I am being lied on and falsely accused for someone's personal gain. The case went to law enforcement, but ultimately the LA District Attorney and City Attorney declined to file charges, citing insufficient evidence. Still, Andrea didn't stop, and in August 2018, she filed a civil lawsuit seeking damages. Trey's legal team fought back, claiming self-defense, that whatever had happened was a response to some threat against him. As the civil case dragged on, several people who were at that party that night came forward, but not to support Andrea's claims, to dispute them. You see, witness after witness reportedly said they saw Andrea start the altercation. She was actually the aggressor. Users online would even note that her story kept changing, and as a result, her credibility was seriously in question. Andrea and her team held on, stating that Trey Songz was the real agitator of the story. But with witnesses saying otherwise, Andrea quietly dropped the lawsuit, with prejudice, meaning the lawsuit could never be refiled.
And this is what I can say. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know who did lie, who didn't lie, and stuff like that. But there's a possibility to say that Andrea was telling the truth. It's a possibility that Trey Songz's team could have paid those people off to say, "Hey, she lying. She's the aggressor. This is why da 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 da." Possibility of that happening. There's also a possibility that she was the aggressor. It's both. But I'm sure there's hella cameras in the club. People had their phones out. Especially if that shit would have happened, niggas would have definitely, and bitches would have definitely recorded that shit. So, ain't no telling if she did lie, ain't no telling if she didn't lie. But I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, when females lie about men raping them and sexually assaulting them, it makes it bad and tainted for those who have actually been raped and assaulted. Because now we gotta really go and look at all the stories. Okay, say this woman was actually assaulted and raped. Now the police are going like, all right, who was it by? What were you wearing? What was the means of your relationship? Did you have alcohol in your system? Why did you da 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 da? Like pressuring and essentially going at the victim to where like victim shaming to where it's like I don't even want to do this no more because it's just y'all not even y'all just trying to y'all don't make me feel safe because I feel like y'all attacking me for something that I had no control of. Versus a female that's lying, knows she's lying, she's able to go ahead and like, yeah, this happened. I can do these crocodile tears. I was wearing this, and this is our relationship. We didn't have anything, but da da da. But guess what? She knows she's lying, and she can go ahead and go through the questions and everything, and it works in her favor because it's not actually a traumatic experience. She just didn't like the individual, or the individual did something like stop talking to him, stop talking to her, or whatever, and now she fucked somebody willingly who she didn't want to fuck, and she wanted to fuck somebody else. Like it just makes it bad. Like it's crazy. And the people who lie about sexual assault, as in like who claim to be victim, like they need jail time. Like they need like they do need jail time because that's perjury. That's lying on that individual. Because guess what? Even if those claims came out as oh yeah she lied da 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 da, the individual who got lied on, his name is still like dragged in the mud. His character is still hurt. He's still hurt. Like that fucks up somebody's life. Most likely lost his job. Because he lost his job. Most likely gonna lose his crib if you live in the crib. His car. And also, just how society's gonna look at him. How his friends gonna look at him. How his parents and his family's gonna look at like, bro, it's a whole lot that goes into it.
The decision was final.
Like you
No
gotta
one
keep
knows
receipts
for
about
sure
everything.
why this case was dropped. There was no settlement announced and no statement was made. I understand that this story is a curveball. This channel has a mission to be unbiased. So make no mistake, I am not here to create a narrative. 2020, Selena Powell and Eliza Jane. April 6, 2020, Eliza Jane sat down for a now infamous podcast interview. She laughed nervously as she spoke, sharing a crazy story from a wild night out. She said it started out consensual. She was seeing Trey Songz, they were intimate, but then things shifted. She claimed that after one encounter, Trey took her phone in her purse and wouldn't let her leave his hotel room.
One of the nastiest things you've ever done, let's hear it.
I got too.
Gone.
Not that I didn't know what was happening. He just did it. He just like, please stay cool. Fuck Trey Songz. But every time I know that him says the same. Like, yeah, it's kill. Like he took my phone and my purse away for like a whole day. Held it over the balcony. Was like, if you try to leave, I'm gonna drop it. I'm like, but y'all didn't want to believe me. Okay.
And
He did the same thing to her. Like he just does the same. He's like weird.
On the surface, Eliza didn't seem rattled. In fact, she laughed while telling the story. But if you were really listening, you could hear something else underneath. Discomfort, shock, like she had.
I didn't know this is how we're doing our night, man. Come on. I know that the Wi-Fi is good, so you should be go ahead and come on, man. You're embarrassing me in front of
fully
company.
process what exactly happened to her. Now, if you've been on the internet for the past
You're
5
already on the
years, the name
Android
Selena Powell
type
might already
range for a
raise
second.
your eyebrows. She's made a brand surface. Eliza didn't seem rattled. In fact, she laughed while telling the story. But if you were really listening, you could hear something else underneath. Discomfort, shock, like she hadn't fully processed what exactly happened to her. Now, if you've been on the internet for the past 5 years, the name Selena Powell might already raise your eyebrows. She's made a brand out of exposing famous men, rappers, athletes, entertainers, and when she jumped in to co-sign Eliza's story, things escalated really fast.
You know, like when something like happens to you kind of traumatically, you kind of like laugh it off. Like when I talk about it, I'm like laughing or like, you know, because I really don't want it to like settle in type. But the truth is the fucking truth, and it kind of fucks me up.
She said she even filed a police report, but later dropped it after being allegedly threatened. These are big accusations, but they never reached a courtroom.
I dropped the charges on Tremaine because I was moving into the building and he said that he was gonna make it very uncomfortable for me to live there.
No charges, no lawsuit, just their word and his denial. Trey fired back online hard. He said the allegations were fake. People were trying to ride the wave of Me Too. He even posted what looked like old messages from Eliza, but screenshots don't prove consent. And to this day, there's been no court date, no official record, only these rumors.
Bro, and you are seeing a common pattern throughout all this. They make a suit, they wait a little bit, make a suit, civil suit, criminal suit, then they end up dropping it.
In the world of fame, filters, and fuzzy lines between clout and crime, some stories don't end with justice. They just fade into obscurity. 2021, Tyrell Dunn. November 28, 2021, Las Vegas, Nevada. Trey Songz had just turned 37, and to celebrate, he and his entourage hit Dry's nightclub, bottle service, VIP lounges, and an after party that would go down in infamy. According to witnesses, Trey and his crew invited a group of women back to their hotel suite at the Cosmopolitan. One of the women who went back to the room that night was the wife of Tyrell Dunn, a Maryland Capitol Police officer. It's unclear why this grown, married woman was in a hotel room with Trey Songz and his entourage, but according to reports, she was escorted to the room by security and told she was going to meet Trey Songz. Once inside, she quickly realized something was off. Her phone was taken away, and when she tried to leave, she was stopped. Meanwhile, downstairs, her husband, Tyrell, had no idea where his wife was and went searching to find her. According to the complaint, Tyrell heard his wife screaming for help and reported she was being held against her will. Without hesitation, he rushed to the hotel room, pushing past security, determined to save his wife. And that's when things turned violent, because the moment Tyrell arrived at room 6014, he was reportedly ambushed. Not by just one person, not by just two, but by Trey Songz and his entire security team. Now, if you're imagining a fair fight, just don't.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen the Powerpuff Girls, you would think Tyrell's real name was Mojo Jojo. The way they handled this man was bad, and as he lay there bloodied and broken, his attackers took his money and his chain, leaving him humiliated and helpless. And the worst part, his wife was still in that room. Actually, just so we're clear, I haven't even read a single thing that says his wife actually didn't even want to be there. Not a single statement, nothing denouncing Trey Songz. Kind of weird, I know, but
yeah, it's very weird.
That's the story. All the information from this event comes from Tyrell and his legal team. So, yeah, Trey Songz stole his wife. Security at the Cosmopolitan called 911, but when officers arrived, the scene was chaotic. Reported fights, theft, and an alleged beatdown all poured in at once. And while Trey Songz and his crew weren't immediately arrested, the investigation kicked off rather quickly.
Because he's a police officer, of course.
The evidence. And by March 2022, they made their decision. No criminal charges. Trey Songz was officially cleared. Case closed. Well, not quite. You see, Tyrell Dunn wasn't done fighting. And if police weren't going to hold Trey Songz accountable, then maybe a civil court would. And in October 2024, the courts agreed. Trey Songz hit with an $11.2 million default judgment. Now, if you're wondering how that happened, it's actually pretty simple. Trey Songz never responded to the lawsuit. For 2 years, he allegedly ignored it. And in the world of law, silence isn't cheap. It's expensive. But just when Dunn thought that he won, Trey pulled a classic celebrity move. He claimed that he never knew about the lawsuit, that he didn't know he owed millions of dollars to this man. And get this, he said he only found out when fans started messaging him on Instagram. That's right. Not his lawyers, not the court, just some random people sliding into his DMs saying, "Yo, you just lost $11 million. Are you okay?" So his legal team jumped into action, arguing that he was never properly served a lawsuit. And in January 2025, a judge actually agreed. The $11.2 million judgment, wiped clean. Just like that.
Damn.
But this story isn't over. Dunn's lawyers are coming back with a brand new case, and this time they want to drag everyone else into court. The security team, the hotel, everyone else tied to that night. Because as they see it, justice hasn't been served. Not yet.
there's also this.
But like, I just can't help to think like, when are y'all gonna put Trey Songz in jail? Like, when are we gonna like focus on the that matters? You get what I mean? Like the people who are like actively beating and women in Hollywood and then just like brushing it off because they're fine and they're sexy. Like, you get what I mean? And I'm not gonna lie, I was friends with Trey Songz for years and he never did anything to me either. And then one day he did.
On to the next incident.
Now, I've heard about Trey Songz by like regular bitches. Like treaches that I've been with have a story about Trey Songz, and the same thing is corroborated by other people. Bro, I don't know what that is, bro. Like, Trey gotta stand accountable for this, or I'm gonna be honest with you, his legacy's gonna go down like R.Kelly.
2022,
Bro.
Jane Dub.
Shout out to nigga academics. Yes. Because, bro, this is a constant pattern. It's a pattern. He's not going to learn his lesson. Like, bro, there's, see how many we've already been through. I say it's about, since it's what we like, yeah, we 30 minutes into this video. It's been, from what we've heard, around like 10 plus women who have said that he's done several different negative, just sexually assault, aggravated assault, just negative shit, but it's all consistent. Like, if there was one woman that's like, all right, he stabbed me several times, shit like that, out of all, it's like, all right, bro, like, did he? Like, I don't know. It's possible he could have, but we would have been questioning that. But it's a consistent negative behavior. And I bet usually he's on fucking drugs and on, drinking alcohol and shit like that. He's just like fucked up and shit like that. Or maybe that's just how he is in person. You never know we don't even know how he's fucking raised. And how he learned these behaviors. But also, the fame and shit don't help. Like, it makes it worse. You gotta get accountable for this shit. You gotta get accountable. You gotta be accountable.
October 20th, 2022, Trey Songz was at the Gutter, a bowling alley on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. He arrived with some fine shit. At some point in the night, the two headed towards the bathroom, and that's when the female employee intervened. She told Trey he couldn't enter the bathroom with his girlfriend. It was simply against company rules, and simply just not appropriate. What happened next was extremely violent. Trey began striking the employee, hitting her multiple times. But he didn't stop there. He even dragged her by her hair, like she was a bowling ball. Her boyfriend, who was also present at the venue, heard the commotion and stepped in to defend her. And when police arrived, they found a 33-year-old man reporting pain to his left eye, saying Trey had him several times in the bathroom as well. Police opened an investigation, but it wasn't until November 30th, more than a month later, that Trey was arrested and hit with over 10 charges.
Damn.
Trey's attorney, Mitchell Schuster, issued a public statement calling the incident a minor altercation. Following the incident, the Gutter implemented new staff rules. Employees are no longer allowed to bring their partners to work. And as a result, the female employee who initially confronted Trey Songz was promptly fired.
Damn.
And I just have to say, personally, this is really effed up, and I'm never supporting the Gutter ever.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And in May of 2023,
man, if I was fired,
bruh,
if my girl went through all that shit, and I went there to defend her honor and shit like that, and then you come back to her job, her job not being there for her, changing up the rules and firing her, man, we suing the goddamn company. Suing the motherfucking company.
Only leaving disorderly conduct
Y'all
for
going
Trey
to
Songz
bankrupt.
be punished by. Trey's team would be elated for this news as he only had to attend 12 anger management classes to put the case behind him. And this, like many other allegations, would vanish into thin air. Until
this is my first time hearing about most of this shit.
December 2021, where former UNLV basketball star Dylan Gonzalez sent shockwaves through social media with a single blunt accusation. Trey Songz is a Lord forgive me. No context, no details, just a name and a claim that could not be ignored. She later stated that Songz had targeted her in a Las Vegas Sin City
She a twin?
Her legal team described him as a serial predator,
She a twin?
adding weight to an already growing list of disturbing accusations. She further clarified her post online, stating, with what seems like endlessly reoccurring news of the alleged sexual assault committed by Trey Songz, I am forced to repeatedly relive in my mind and suffer anew the long-suppressed horror and unbearable PTSD of mine by his very hands at a well-known Las Vegas hotel. I want to send my love, strength, and hope to all who are victims of sex and its fatal nature. You are not alone. I stand with you and encourage all those who have suffered abuse to speak out and come forward. Suppression of our voices only emboldens our oppressors. And you cannot heal what you do not reveal. At this time, I humbly request my privacy, consideration, and compassion while I fully commit to pursue the best course of action and all of my legal options. Trey Songz denied these claims outright. His lawyer
Come on now.
dismissed Dylan's statements as baseless and opportunistic. Meanwhile, the legal system remained largely unresponsive, just as it had with previous allegations against the singer. As we already covered in this video, actress Keke Palmer had accused him of coercion years prior, and another woman alleged in 2020. None of these incidents had led to any significant legal consequences. By 2022, Dylan pursued legal action, but the case quietly faded from public attention. Whether it was settled or dismissed behind closed doors, the details never surfaced. No major charges were filed, and the outcome of her lawsuit remains unclear even to this day.
Hey guys, welcome back. This is the story time of when I was trapped at a famous R&B artist's house.
If you can watch it all the way through, from the beginning to end,
then you'll understand that he must be taught a lesson.
Extra info. This video is super long, and honestly there's much more smaller stories we can cover, so I'm just going to run through some of the other more famous stories right now, but just realize there's like other allegations that I am not covering in this video just because of the mere length of everything, okay? In December 2017, at a strip club in Philadelphia, Trey slapped the phone out of a fan's hands and into her face, causing her glasses to break. During a Cardi B show at the Hollywood Palladium in May 2019, Trey was sued after allegedly punching a bartender after he jumped on the bar to sit on it. When he was informed that it was against the policy of the venue, he ignored the warning. At that point, the bartender reached over to try and get his attention once again. That's when Trey turned around and knocked him in the head. Then he looked at the other bartenders working at the bar and then continued to watch the show. Sarunas Jackson, an actor most known for playing Dro on Insecure, called out Trey for apparently trying to fight women but then turning down fights when men would step in to protect those women.
And they do that thing where they were trying to sell this tough guy scene like this one, Trey Songz, trying to press women, you know what I'm saying? But then when turned down the fade, when it came up to him for the fade, turn it down. I'm not cool with it like that. I'll try to knock it out, keep running, but like it just, he wants to fight women and stuff like that. And to me, I can't operate like that.
In January 2021, Trey was caught on video beating up a police officer in Kansas City, Missouri during an NFL match. Witnesses claimed prior to being approached by the officer, Trey was being heckled by others in the stands for not wearing a mask, and he asked them to be quiet. Then they claimed the officer approached him and allegedly got physical without warning. So basically, this is another case of self-defense for Trey Songz. 4 months later, in May 2021, after an argument with a random woman, Trey bumped his car into hers, causing her to get out and confront him, and that's when he sped past her and hit her hand.
This is what you get when they used to get money, huh? Nigga. I pay for the insurance, I don't give a fuck. Let's play some bumper cars. Or real bumper cars. Nigga, what?
And with his vehicle. Luckily, her hand was not injured, although it's unclear how bad the bump to her car was. There's definitely a very common theme of Trey Songz getting into altercations with women, like all of the time. But I have to remind everyone that these are all just allegations. Regardless of how you may feel about Trey Songz, he has not been charged with most of his stuff. However, I definitely think if even half of these stories are true, Trey Songz has a lot of things to work on. And under the assumption that they are true, I would definitely label him as an evil, narcissistic piece of shit that deserves nothing but life in prison and a life full of criticism and harsh words thrown at him.
Guess what? Even if he doesn't get the justice that, you know, like their allegations, even if he doesn't get the justice that he may deserve from all this shit, when he passes, when he dies, he's got to relive that. He's going to have to look at all that shit messing, like, you know, when the guy comes like, hey, this is all the stuff you did, and you're okay with it. I'm not okay with it. Going to hell. He has to live with this shit today. I don't think he cares though, because he keeps doing it. So, fame is a hell of a
But
fucking
that's
drug.
just my opinion, and it only really applies if any of this is true. So you make up your own minds about it. And I'll leave with this. Words from our first alleged victim. It's the same with him, story after story. The women get knocked down, he's not being held accountable at all. Thank you guys for watching Actually Evil. Please consider liking and becoming an ally of evil by hitting that subscribe button down below, and consider signing up to my mailing list so you can never miss another video.
W Actually Evil, that was a good video.